Hello and welcome to the University of Law. Today I'm reviewing this. It is Doctor Who Dark Water Death in Heaven, the 3D Blu-ray edition. So I got this about a year ago, I think about April 2023. Didn't get around to watch. I think I kept it for Halloween. Those of you who know what Halloween is will know that it was literally the day before we got the drop of Tales of the TARDIS and all that wonderful 60th stuff. And November was a very busy month for this channel. Trying to keep up with all the amazing stuff that was happening, trying to cover it all. It was a really exciting time. It was a wonderful time. But it meant I didn't get around to doing my review of this. So I have reviewed the story before as a part of my 60th shorts, and you can catch that by looking at that playlist, my Every Doctor Who Story Reviewed playlist, and I kind of go through the story. This isn't me going through the story, this is me going through the particular edition of it. So, just a bit of context. So obviously Dark Water Death in Heaven was the series finale for Doctor Who Series 8, which was Peter Capaldi, the 12th Doctor's first series, his first finale. It had the Cybermen, and it's been a few years since this is broadcast, so there will be spoilers here, but I'm sure you've watched it already. It has the first appearance of Missy. We found out that this character who'd been popping up throughout the series was in fact the Master. It had a lovely recreation you can see here on the front cover of, if you can see it, of St. Paul's from the invasion. It had that lovely recreation of that wonderful moment from the invasion in the 60s with the Second Doctor. So, where am I going with this? It was released in 2014. It was broadcast originally, and I think it was itself broadcast around Halloween. I think it was the closest we've ever got in Doctor Who to having a sort of Halloween special. And I have to say, it was very dark at times. It was a very dark story, but it was certainly suited to Halloween. And that's why I kind of wanted to watch it again around Halloween time. I didn't watch it exactly on Halloween, but it was around Halloween time, every week before Halloween 2023. But basically, as a part of their marketing for the following series, Series 9, the following year, yeah, it was the following year, wasn't it? 2015, yeah. They rendered it in 3D for cinemas in America, in the USA. And so if you were lucky enough to be near one of these cinemas, you could watch the special in 3D. And then afterwards there was an exclusive interview with Will Wheaton, interviewing Peter Capaldi and Jenna Coleman about the upcoming series. There was also some prequels that got released, which we eventually got to see, I think, over here on webcast and on the Series 9 Blu-ray. It's only ever been released in 3D Blu-ray in the US. It's never been released in the UK. I had this imported. You can buy it easily on Amazon. It has two discs. So the two discs are, you've got a DVD copy. Warning, if you live in the UK, this DVD does not work. It's a Region 1 DVD. It does not play on a Region 2 UK DVD player. And then you have this, a little bit like the Day of the Doctor Blu-ray, 3D Blu-ray. It has one disc that can be played in 2D or 3D. So there's, to talk about the contents of the disc, most of the stuff on here is stuff that you'll already have on your Series 9 box set. The prequel stuff is on the Series 9 set. What is on here that's not on your current box sets, if you have them, you will not have the interview with Will Wheaton, which is on this disc. However, it is about launching a series that you've already seen, so it's perhaps not as exciting as it was, because they're kind of teasing things rather than talking about things. It does, of course, have the 3D edit of the Series 8 finale, which is not on the Series 8 box set, and of course the Series 8 box set is not in 3D. Obviously, this wasn't shot in 3D, and obviously it's been made into a movie edition. So first of all, the only thing that is a bit difficult about the edit is that when you get between the two episodes, Dark Water to Death in Heaven, there was a bit of a pre-title sequence with Clara, where it's kind of implied that she's the Doctor and meant to be this kind of big sort of shock. Oh, have we been wrong the whole time? And obviously that kind of worked on broadcast, and it works with two parts. It was difficult. I think they did the edit really well. I was watching with my friend Jack. He found it a bit jarring. I thought they did a good job. I thought it could have been messy, and actually I think they did the best job possible, because to be fair, the story itself didn't lend itself to be joined. Like any other story, like something like Rise of the Cybermen, you could easily join those two together, no problem. Journey's End, Stone and Earth, you can patch them together, no problem. with this is probably one of the trickier stories to join up. And I'd have to say, with bearing in mind the material, they did a very good job. So it works as a movie, it's entertaining as a film. Obviously, you can also see with the two halves, I know often with a kind of Rusty Davies original era two-parter, you kind of felt the energy was kind of consistent across the stories. They kind of picked up the pace in the final story. Steve Moffat is very different in how he writes, and that does come across in the edit as well, in terms of, because he was writing for two separate episodes broadcast across 2 different weeks, there is a different pace often to both stories. Think about Impossible Astronaut from Series 6, very different pace. Episode 1, Episode 2 are almost like completely different feel, different tone, different pacing there. And you do get that here as well, the kind of pace changes quite a bit, changes direction a little bit halfway through. But there's nothing wrong with that, and again, that's there's nothing I can do about that. That's the way the story was. And as I said, Stephen Moffat was writing this as 2 separate episodes, so you have to just bear in mind when you're watching it that this isn't how it was intended for broadcast. This is a bit of a fun alternative viewing experience. So you're not going to be throwing away your original Blu-ray. You're still going to want to watch the broadcast version. My preferred version probably will be this feature-length 3D version. I thought it was really fun. I preferred this one just because I think, with the 3D, etc. But, just be wary that it was written as 2 separate episodes over 2 separate weeks. And naturally, you're going to, notice that when you're watching it. The big thing I loved about this was the 3D was fantastic. Bearing in mind, Day of the Doctor was shot with 3D cameras in 3D, and it was rendered and it was edited in 3D, and the story was written for 3D. So I watched this about a week before with Jack. We watched that in 3D a week before we watched this. So the 3D, obviously, it's not been made for 3D in the same way, but I have to say, I didn't see much of a difference. This has been really well converted. You got the layers in the screen, the same as you got in Day of the Doctor. It didn't feel like, it didn't hurt your eyes like some conversions do. Although, having said that, I've never seen a film that's hurt my eyes. I know some people said that some conversions and other films that I haven't seen hurt their eyes. This didn't hurt my eyes. I thought it worked quite well, and actually there was a bit after the title sequence where they're on the volcano. Well, it's a volcano in Clara's head. It's like if you've seen the story, you know what I'm talking about. And a rock hurtles out the volcano towards you, and I thought this has been added for 3D because I thought because it flew out at you, and I thought this is really cool. I thought they've obviously added that in for the 3D version, and I double checked and I watched the original Blu-ray. And it was there on the broadcast version as well, but it works really well in 3D. Whether they knew at the time that they were going to be doing a 3D render and they put it in for that reason, I don't know. Whether it's just a happy coincidence, I'm not sure. So I love this set. The one last selling point you are going to get about this, and one of the big reasons I'm going to watch this over my broadcast Blu-ray, 2D Blu-ray, is that this has a Dolby Atmos soundtrack. It is the very first Doctor Who story ever to have a Dolby Atmos soundtrack. It was the very first Dolby Atmos release. I think since then we've had a couple of collection sets like Sea Devils have had Dolby Atmos. But this was the very first Doctor Who story to have Dolby Atmos. And it is a really good soundtrack. And obviously it had that because it was being made for cinema. So, but there we have it. So that's my thoughts. Have you picked this up? Are you thinking of picking it up? You can get it from Amazon UK. You can order have it imported in from Amazon US. And it is definitely a worthy addition to your collection. Even if you haven't got a 3D telly and you just want to watch this movie-length edit and see the bonus features on it, obviously you've got the Dolby Atmos soundtrack. It's a film-length edit. It's a different way of experiencing the story. It's a curiosity, and there's that interview on there that you won't find anywhere else. So obviously you can't play the DVD, but obviously if you put this 3D Blu-ray in a normal Blu-ray player, it will play on a normal 2D TV in 2D. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. I look forward to speaking to you soon.